This is the Starlight Express Alumni Podcast.
Hey everyone, DMJ here, David Michael Johnson. I'm a proud Starlight Express alumni. And my Starlight Express journey began actually in New York City with the auditions for the Broadway company. Yes,
Whoa.
and yes. And what was happening back then, I think that must have been around 1986 or 87. My experience was Johnson and Litz, the casting people then, they got a bunch of us singers and they sent us to skate class. And we went to skate class, I think, for like 3 months, the basic skate class before the auditions began. So then we went through the audition.
Really? Whoa, slow down. Wait a minute. So you before the auditions, you got together with who? Michael Fraley?
Oh no, this is before Michael Fraley.
Before Michael.
I had the Michael experience later, first of all, but we had I don't remember her name, and it was just on the ground. It wasn't on a set or anything because there was no set. But there were a few of us that they sent to skate class for about 3 months, as I recall, or once or twice a week. We were doing it before the auditions began.
Oh my
so.
goodness.
When we went into the auditions, we could skate a little bit,
Yeah.
And that was how it began. I auditioned for the Broadway company. I kept having really great auditions. Was a thrill to meet Trevor Nunn back then, and Arlene, and and then I got to the very end, and I was kind of bummed out because the day of the final auditions, I was doing an industrial, and I couldn't make the final day.
Oh.
So then the next day, the grapevine, the gossip rumor, like all the friends were getting it. Michael Dimby Kane was in it. He was a friend of mine. And people were saying, oh, I got it. And I didn't get it. I didn't get the call. And I couldn't go to the very last. So I was kind of bummed about that. And especially because I had done Singing in the Rain in the Gershwin Theater. I think that was the show right before. Starlight Express, and I was eager to keep working there. It's a great theater. Now it's called the Gershwin now. Was it called it was called the Gershwin back then too.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that that we just jumped right in it. This is awesome, man. I can hear your excitement. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for spending this time with me and sharing with me. And I did not know that they had done that for the New York show. I had not heard of Starlight Express. Well, I heard of Starlight Express because I was on a tour with Sesame Street. And then I found out that Angel Vargas had gotten the show, and he was another Sesame Street alumni.
Yeah.
And then I knew it was on skates, and I wasn't really a skater until I did the show. Really, but so I didn't know they had those rehearsals before then, and you were part of that. Was that Nancy? Was it Nancy that was doing the rehearsals?
I do not
remember.
I cannot for the life of me recall.
Well, it's not like it was that long ago.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out if anyone else in the audition. I can't read. I mean, I knew Greg Mowry from before from auditions, and just knowing him, and I don't recall whether he was in those calls with us or not.
Yeah.
But that was how my experience began, and then the show came out and went to see him. It was amazing, and it was just so amazing. Kenny Ard as Electra, Andrew McCarthy, just all of them.
Yeah.
Jake Bukowski, just Robert Torti, just so fucking brilliant. The things they used to do on that set was amazing.
Now,
and,
when did you become part of Starlight? Give me
so here's the thing. So the Broadway was going for a while. I think I want to say 6 months or something. And I was at home licking my wounds. And one day I get a call from a telephone call. Hello, David Michael Johnson. This is Andrew Tregus from the Really Useful Group in London. We're doing Starlight Express in Japan and Australia. And we'd like you to play the role of Electra. How does that sound? I was like, fuck, man, my bags are packed. So that's how it worked. And out of that bit of not really failure, but being passed over for the Broadway, I got a call to be Electra in the Japan-Australia tour. So I just had to bide my time, and that's how I became a part of the Starlight family, which was great because we rehearsed in London for about, what was it, a month or 2 months? I don't know. Went to Japan for 3 months, I think it was, 2 or 3 months, and then toured Australia for 4 months. The whole thing was about, well, it was less than a year, but it was just changed my life. First of all, at the airport, JFK, flying to London and meeting who has become my best friend, Bernie Blanks, sitting next to him, and Wilton Anderson, and getting all these people, meeting Jan Appel, Roz Howell in the hotel, being so young and having our experience. And that's how our Starlight experience began. It was just international group of people. We had a lot of cast from the London show, and we rehearsed at Cannon L Street Studios, where they used to shoot Star Wars. I think is now a shopping market or something. I don't know. And that was how it began. We met, we gelled, and we rehearsed, and we eventually went to Japan and Australia.
Now, what was the rehearsal process like? Share with everyone, the training and the process. I know you did some skate training already, so you were relatively a skater, and so
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I could skate at a roller rink, but I mean, they had actually built a set or a practice set in a big soundstage at the Cannon L Street Studios, and that's where we rehearsed. We had the whole drills. Ilse was our Arlene's assistant, and and our skate coach then was Gene Moss.
Gene Moss. I remember his name.
Yeah, and she was our skate coach the Japan Australia first experience. It was just wild because we were rehearsing in daytime and at nighttime getting to know London, and it was during that time that I got to see Starlight on the West End, seeing Coffee Missa as Rusty, seeing Michael Rand. I think the first time he was on it, was he Krupp or was he a Rocky? The amazing Michael Rand, and so it was a really exciting time for us. And then we were done with rehearsals and we flew to Japan.
Yeah. Now you said you did rehearsals about 3 to 4 months, right? About 3 months, 4 months.
No, I think we started rehearsals at the end of August or the beginning of September. I think we flew to Japan in November or December.
Right.
It's hazy.
Yeah. And so your first performance, what was that like? Because I know the Japan set was I mean, all the Starlight sets were so different. And so first performance for you, what do you remember? What was the experience? And if you can remember, because I know a couple of Starlights I spoke to, they said that they were more into the opening night preparation for the party.
Well, that's a good point. First of all, Peter, I need to check something technically because it says I have no battery left, even though it's plugged in. So let me just make sure that we don't lose everything. Yeah, it's back now. Could you please repeat the question?
Yeah. So what was your opening night experience like? What was it like to get on the stage, the set of the Japan production, and then the opening night? What was that like? The audience, the experience, you come doing Electra, right? You did Electra.
Yeah.
So what was that like for the first time to sing? And it was in English, right?
Yeah, we sang in English, and it was kind of wild. The thing was, there was so much they put into this, and it was a huge undertaking because in Japan and Australia, we did the arena version. So the audience was seated around in a huge arena. Wow. We were in the middle like a giant toy set. So the audience was all around us. For the Japan-Australia version, all the characters were doubled, and we had stunt skaters doing the races, and they had an amazing team of Japanese stunt skaters. So we would do the ritual for the race, start racing down into a tunnel. They would come out the other side like a relay race with masks on and do these amazing stunts. And then the race would end and we'd come out the other tunnel like, oh gosh. You know?
Well, you are acting.
Yeah, schmacting. So it was a huge undertaking, and it was just huge to get to the arena. You had to just skate 5 minutes to get actually to your entrance. So you really had to leave a lot, which often caused problems for Mr. Vernie Blanks, but that's another story. Yeah, but they put a lot into it. And Peter, we were really like rock stars. Fuji TV was one of the producers. They had done a lot of promotion. They were really pushing the show a lot. And it was really amazing experience. Also, it was a bit of an experiment. I mean, of course, Andrew Lloyd Webber came to the opening and they wanted it to be perfect. So I remember one of the things was that in order to have the perfect show, they used our backing tapes. And we had made this, we had a huge arena version. We had a live band, but we also had, there was a click, and some of the ensemble voices were on the click we had done. And during that time, we had recorded the solos as well. And so, so imagine our surprise and frustration when we suddenly were performing and then found out we'd had to do it to something we'd recorded like a month or two ago and forgotten what, you know. So that was a bit of a challenge, but they wanted it to sound perfect for Mr. Andrew Lloyd Webber. I got to get this right. You got to edit this out. So, but they wanted it to sound perfect for Mr. Andrew Lloyd Webber, of course. And I can agree with that. And yeah, and it's a little story meeting him in the opening, and I was so full of presents, I couldn't really shake his hand. So he said, "Let me shake your bag, young man." So he shook my bag of presents. So that's my Andrew Lloyd Webber meeting Andrew Lloyd Webber story.
That's awesome, man. I love the stories that we all have and our memories. Which brings me to my next question, and this is what seemed to be one of the toughest questions for all the alumni because many of us have so many memories. When I ask you the question, the first thought that comes to mind, your greatest memory from your Starlight experience. Ready and go.
Friendships, the family, Starlight family, and the friendships that I still hold to this day.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, with that being said, and looking back now, what lessons did you draw? Life lessons that you draw from them? Because right now, as we speak, we have right now Starlight in Germany, because you did the German production as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did it the first changeover after you guys. And
yeah, because I think I came back and I was in the next changeover at one point.
Yeah, I did the first changeover, and and then I was gone. But no, it's just, okay. First, I want to answer your question.
Yes,
if I can. I mean, me personally, I learned that it's your time to do things, or it's not your time to do things, and if you keep at something and believe, you can achieve it. It's funny. It's like the Starlight sequence, but also in the fact that I had auditioned for something and was gutted that I didn't get it, and saw it come up, and then I got to do it in wonderful places, and I kept getting to do it. And once you're in the Starlight family, if you wanted to, you could go on and do it over and over. And I got to do it in Germany as well. And that lesson that it ain't over till the fat lady sings, you know. Or the fat man sings. I mean, now it's not a fat man anymore. It's a beautiful lady, Reva, until Mama sings at the end.
Oh my, yeah.
But that lesson, and the fact that, you know, going through your pain, going through the physical struggle, and just getting strong as fuck, and just like losing your fear, you know, of going fast, or it's amazing when I see the show now. I'm like, damn, they're going so fast. It's amazing what they're doing. And then I realized that I sort of did that too. But I mean, some of the stunts you've seen, Peter, what they're doing now, it's just out of this world.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing is that because right now there's Starlighters now doing Starlight that were their parents were kids when we were doing it. So it's mind blowing. And so they are actually standing on the shoulders of those that came before them. That's us. Like you said it earlier, it's almost like, it's like an experiment. And I hear this a lot from us alumni, that we were the guinea pigs. Because there's a lot of tears, a lot of blood, a lot of broken bones and broken hearts and emotions and everything that came in. I think that's why we're all tied together like this.
Well, it's sort of like being old war buddies, It's just, going through a war with someone. And I tell you, and I want to address that, because it's funny when we come back to the 20th or the 25th or even now the 30th anniversary, that I find that a lot of people, things happen in those years that challenge you emotionally. And I found that a lot of people carry that with them over the years, and they come back and I'm like, that was years ago. But it's funny how we as sensitive artists carry these little things about it that are long past, that no one remembers anymore. Debbie doesn't remember it. Stephen Russell doesn't remember it. No one remembers it. So why do we carry these things these years? I find that to be very interesting.
Yeah, that's the humanness in us. And and what I found also doing this, because I've done all these interviews so far, my goal is to do 100. That's my goal, to get 100 alumni. But it's a healing process. I'm feeling the healing in myself. And when I got together with the other alumni, it's the same thing. We're all sharing this because it was an emotional experience, and we can't deny our humanness, and even to this day. And so I'm finding this as a healing. And the podcast itself is all about being positive, inspiring, and motivating, and just really encouraging. Why I think that the sense that I got from many alumni was that, how am I going to be remembered? And, because right now, I'm looking at 60 years old. And so I'm saying, okay, look, what are my kids? How are my kids going to remember me? How are the Starlighters that are coming to other actors, other people in the world, how are they going to remember me? And so there's this idea of legacy. And
I want to say, thank you for that. I want to say, we are remembered. You are remembered. My Starlight experience in Bochum began because at the end of our Australia experience, 12 of our cast members went directly to Bochum. And they had already started rehearsing in Hamburg. And then our people, who were a lot of our swings and covers, stepped up into roles in Bochum. So it's really exciting to see that because, as I was telling you before, you might start your Starlight journey one way and end up a total other way in a whole other position. And that's been exciting to watch how they grew and how they became stars in a new production. And so, because I was friends with a lot of them, especially Bernie Blangs and Wilton, they were just my heart. We did everything together. I went to Bochum and I was at the premiere, and I hung out with you guys like a week before the premiere. I was actually a guest premiere. I escorted over Arlene Phillips on my arm through all the protesters with the posters, with skaters with stakes through their hearts. I mean, it was some wild stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
But and I saw Starlight Express then, and the premiere in Bochum. And little did I realize a year later I'd come back to do it. But my point is, you guys are pioneers. And I remember at the beginning, it wasn't so successful as they had thought, before the opening and all. And I know the first year they fought a lot with getting audience and what is this new thing? And I mean, what you say, you people who were pioneers there, you just really, what you did was amazing. To be, performers, Black people, Asian people, Hispanic people in this small coal town, gay people, it was just like a bomb went off, and it just inspired all those kids and all those fans into another world. And that original cast, and the first few casts actually, were responsible for that. So when you ask how you will be remembered, it's amazing. I've had the pleasure of making a career in Germany, did a lot of shows here, and a lot of the people who are stars now, and they said, "Oh, I saw you in Starlight Express. I saw Starlight Express."
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, I looked at your pictures on the program in the brochure," and it's amazing to me how many people saw us.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because today, Stephen Skeel's interview it went live today, and I shared it in my community. And I have a small business. I have a business, and we have a lot of students. I'm very active in our community. Renee as well. And so I shared it in my group, and we're talking about like about 80,000 people in that group, and so. People started responding in the community, say, "I remember seeing it in Philadelphia. Or I remember seeing it in Vegas. Or I remember seeing it when I was out in London." And people were talking about how great that show is. People who are not performers, and they are being drawn by the music of it, and it's reminding them of the musicals. And I put the post out to all you music theater lovers. And and of course, I'm pushing the fact that I started off as a ballet dancer, and right now I'm a full-time martial arts school owner.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
So I want to make sure that people know that I was a ballet dancer and all that stuff. Yeah. But the history there, and everywhere I go, I'm sure you've experienced it. You just expressed that someone, wherever you go, experienced Starlight Express and the spectacle and the joy of Starlight Express. Now, I want to make sure that, first of all, thank you so much for spending this time with me and sharing your experience of Starlight as an alumni. Share with everyone. I want to make sure that everyone knows, what you're doing now, because Starlight is an important part of my life and in your life, but it's not our whole life. There are things that we're doing that I want people to know, that we have a passion for other things. I want them to know what you're passionate about, what work are you doing now, if you don't mind sharing, and if they want to find out more about the work that you are doing, how to get a hold of you. Can you share that?
Certainly. As I said, Starlight was very good to me. I went back to America after that, auditioning and all, but during my time in Starlight, I sort of fell in love with the Belgian boy, didn't I? So I kept going back and forth, and the agent said, "You need to, make your priorities straight, whether you want to be here or go back to Europe." And I said, "Bye." So I went back to Europe, and so I've come back and had the pleasure of doing a lot of productions here, a lot of shows, and I'm still performing. And right now I'm doing We Will Rock You, and I did that before in Germany, the German cast, for like 7 years in a row, and now I'm doing it, the new United Kingdom tour. So we're rehearsing. I'm in London rehearsing, and I'll be on tour for a year in the UK, the end of 2019, 2020. So if anyone's about, come see We Will Rock You. Yeah.
Well, I love it. Now, I'll put the link in, because everyone that's watching or listening to this, right on this page here, right below, there are links to find out more about the show. And if you're in London, if you're going to London, go see the show. And now, how can they get a hold of you? They want to connect with you. Can they connect with you on what's a social platform or a website that they can get a hold of you, or at least find out more about the work that you're doing and stay up to date?
Well, I mean, that's kind of hard, because
well, you know what? They can do that here. So you stay connected to me. And
I'm sorry. I'll say. So how the people can get in touch with me, the easiest way is Facebook. You can send me a message. David Michael Johnson, all three of my names. And I'm working on, I've been kind of resistant with the Instagram thing. It's very important to me, Peter, my time and where I put my energy. And that takes a whole, chunk of your time. And so I'm going to start on that soon with the Real Rock You tour, because Real Rock You is a very young show, and I think that's a good platform. But for now, Facebook, David Michael Johnson. I just want to say, Starlight was really important for me to use my body and to really use dance and sport and physicality, and that's remained important with me. I had a little journey last year. I found out I was diabetic, and so I suffered from that, and so now I'm dealing with that addition to my life, and it's still a big experiment, but I think the way to longevity and is through using our bodies. So I want to urge all the ex-Starlighters to, as much as they can, keep that going.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and sharing and giving some wise advice.
Oh, I don't know about that. But
Yeah.
let me tell you, Peter, I know I'm talking over you. Edit all this out. But I would love to come back and do like a round robin. I saw 6 people can be in here with some ex-Electras and talk about the roles more. And with Bernie and with our really close people to talk about the Japan-Australia tour or a year 2 from Starlight thing. So keep that in mind. I know you're going to do only 100.
Well,
but,
you know what? It's funny because you're not the only one that has said this, and it looks like we're going to do something or several of those where gatherings, like Starlight alumni gatherings. So I already have that in the back of my mind, and I say 100 only because that's my first goal. But I know there's many of us. So I'm gonna go for 100, and then once I get to 100, like my goal is to live to 100. And when I get to I have I always write it in my journal every day that I have left. So today is like 15. I have 15,229 days until my 100th birthday. So when I get there, I'm going to evaluate and then set my next goal. Same thing with the Starlight. My 100, I'll get the first 100 there, and then I'll take it maybe to the next 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay, but
great.
But definitely going to talk about getting a gathering, like a Starlight alumni gathering, where we can have maybe up to 10 of us on at the same time. Because with the software, we can do that. And then everyone can talk over each other. I think that'll be awesome. You talking over me, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. Me talking over you, it's a conversation.
Well, yeah, I'm so excited. And I just want to say all the best to Renee and your kids. They look beautiful. I saw the recent pictures on Facebook. And I just also want to say, did you and Renee meet during Starlight, or did you know each other before and came over together?
We met in 1986 at Hershey Park. We got married like about a year later. And so our anniversary is the same anniversary of Starlight, the same year. So when Starlight makes its 30, we made our 30. So we're going to be married 32 years this coming November. Or 31 years, something like that. Yes.
Yes.
Right. So
I suppose if you can make it. Yeah, I suppose if you can make it through Starlight together, you can make it through anything.
Hello. Yeah, because we did Germany a couple of times together, and we did this U.S. tour together. And then we've done West Side Story together.
We've
done several shows together, and so we work very well together.
That's great.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
So much. I hope you can glean some interesting stuff from this interview. But at the end of the tunnel.
At the end of the tunnel, there's always a light.
Light. Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on this episode of Starlight Express Alumni Podcast. Next week, I will get together with another alumni. Be sure to subscribe. You can subscribe right here on the website at starlightexpress.club. We are definitely on the iTunes and Stitcher, and we're looking to get on the other platforms, so make sure you check there, subscribe there, and stay connected. If you are a Starlight alumni, please be sure to reach out to me if you would like to be on the podcast. Would love to hear your stories and share your story with the Starlight Express fans and other alumni. Look forward to sharing with you next week. Everyone, have a great day.